The world is a turning, and the dawn is a wing, but here in the silence, the leather is king. In the village of Oakhaven, the world lived by a different clock than Barnaby the Shoemaker. When the sun dipped below the jagged spine of the western mountains, and the village bells rang their final bronze-toned goodnight, the people retreated into the safety of their quilts. One by one, the lanterns in the windows were snuffed out, and the frantic, clattering energy of the day dissolved into a thick, indigo silence. But for Barnbay, the ringing of the final bell was not a signal to rest. It was the opening note of a symphony that only he was invited to hear. He lived in the basement of a house that leaned so far over the street it seemed to be to enter his workshop. One had to descend a flight of a narrow stone steps that smelled of a damp earth and ancient secrets. Inside, the walls were lined with the ghost of the thousand journey, wooden last carved in the shape of feet long gone to dust, rolls to hide that still carried the faint, wild musk of the highlands, and jars of pigments that looked like captured sunsets. Barnaby sat at his bench, a heavy oak slab scarred by 40 years of service. He lit a single tallow candle, its flame a steady amber teardrop in the gloom. This was the start of the Great Watch, where the individual ceases to be a person with a name and becomes a mere extension of the work. There is a specific kind of peace found only in the being the only soul awake in the sleeping town. It is a feeling of holding the world in one's hands, of being the silent anchor that keeps the village from drifting away into the formless mist of night. He picked up a piece of calf skin, its surface cool and supple. As his fingers traced the grain, he felt the life of a leather, the places where it would stretch, the places where it would resist. He took his moon shaped knife, and with a single, fluid motion, he began to cut. The sound was a long, rhythmic hiss, a secret shared between the steel and the skin. He was making boots for a woodcutter, a man whose feet knew the harsh bite of winter and the uneven treachery of the forest floor. The town is a cradle of shadow and mist. By the silence of midnight and moonlight be kissed. The baker is dreaming of flour and yeast, while the shadows grow long for the fast and feast. But here in hollow, where tallow smoke curls, I fashion the anchors for boys and for girls, with a blade made of silver and hands made of time. Barnaby worked without the need for a cloak. He measured time in the tension of the thread and depth of the stitch. He pulled a length of a linen cord through a block of dark, sticky beeswax. The friction created a tiny, sharp heat, and the thread emerged stiff and golden, ready to defy the rot of a swamp and the wear of the road. As he began to sew, his needles moved in a mirror dance. Push, pull, seat. The sound of the thread passing through the leather was a crisp, rhythmic zip pop that echoed softly against the stone walls. In the psychology of the midnight hour, this repetition acts as a mantra. The wind stops wandering to the past or worrying about the future. It settles entirely into the point of a needle. There is a profound comfort in the idea of someone taking care of your world while you are unaware of it. While the woodcutter dreamt of tall pines and golden sunlight, Barnaby was reinforcing the heels of his reality. He was ensuring that when the man woke, he would not stumble. He was taking the weight of the man's labor onto his own shoulders, one stitch at a time. It was a silent, unasked for guardianship. The night deepened, entering that hollow space where the stars seemed to move closer to the earth. The night deepened, entering that hollow space where the stars seemed to move closer to the earth. Barnaby picked up his small, polished hammer. He had to attach the thick, layered leather soles. Each tap was a precise, a measured heartbeat in the dark. The sound was dull and grounded, the sound of things being made solid. In the silence of Oakhaven, that tapping traveled through the foundation of a house and out into the street, a faint vibration that acted as a subconscious lullaby for villagers. They did not hear it with their ears, but their hearts felt the rhythm, the reassurance that someone was still watching, someone was still working, someone was still keeping the world in order. The hammer is heavy, the brass track is small, the fasten the dream to the floor and the wall. He built for the journey, he built for the climb, outside of the seasons and outside of time. For when you waken and reach for the door, the path will be waiting as never before. The stitch will be steady, the leather will hold against the sharp bramble and wintering cold. By 3 in the morning, the workshop had become a cathedral of focus. The air was cool, but Barnaby's hands were warm with the friction of the craft. He moved to the finishing wheel, a wooden disc covered in fine emery. He turned the crank with his foot, and the low, resonant hum of the wheel filled the room. It was the sound of a giant bee, a steady vibration that shook the very air. He pressed the edges of the soles against the wheel, smoothing the rough cuts into a seamless dark curve. This was the part of the night where the only one awake experiences a strange distortion of reality. The walls of the shop seemed to breathe with him. The wooden last on the shelf seemed to tap their toes in anticipation. He felt a kinship with every nocturnal creature, the owl in the belfry, the fox in the hedge, the moth against the glass. They were the members of the silent guild, the ones who saw the world when it was stripped of its daylight pretenses. He began the polishing. This was the most meditative act of all. He applied a thick, dark paste made of soot and oil, rubbing it into the leather with a soft cloth. The smell was pungent and earthy. Then he took the horsehair brush. The brush moved in a rhythmic blur back and forth. Under the heat of the friction, the dull leather began to transform. It took a deep inner glow, a luster that seemed to come from the heart of the hide itself. It was the color of a deep forest pool at midnight. Barnaby watched his own reflection grow in the toe of the boot, a distorted, silver-haired spectre in the candlelight. The brush is a whisper, the polish is a gleam, to catch the first light of midsummer dream. He wipes away dust and away grim to give you a luster as lasting as time. The world is a turning and the down is a wing, but here in the silence, the leather is king. He lays down his tools as the shadows depart, with a song in the stretch and a peace in the heart. The blue hour arrived, that liminal space, black of the sky, turns to a dusty, ethereal sapphire. Barnaby stood up, stretched his cramped limbs, his joint popping like dry twigs. He looked at the row of shoes on his bench. They were finished. They were perfect. They were more than just footwear. They were vessels of intent, ready to carry village into a new day. He felt a wave of the good tired, that heavy soulful exhaustion that comes from knowing exactly where your effort went. He had been the proxy for the village movement. He had cared for their feet so they could care for their lives. As he blew out the candle, the smell of burnt tallow rose in the final, curling ribbon of smoke. He climbed the stairs to his small bed, his boots clicking softly on the stone. Outside, the first light of the sun began to catch the weather vane on the church spire. Down the workshop, the shoes waited in the silence. When the woodcutter, the blacksmith, and the schoolmistress eventually came to claim them, they would find the leather supple and the soul strong. They would feel a strange, inexplicable sense of being cared for as they laced them up. They would walk out into the world with a sturdier gait, never knowing that a silver-haired man had spent the night weaving his own heart into the seams of their shoes just to make sure their path was true. The village woke, the noise returned, and the magic of the only one awake dissolved into the morning mist. But in the fiber of the leather, the rhythm of hammer remained, a secret pulse, keeping time for a world.